Today, we're happy to be speaking with Emma Shirley, who's talking with us from North Harbor Dairy, milking 1,200 cows, and Robbins Family Grain, farming about 7,000 acres. The operation is located in upstate New York near Sackett's Harbor at the northeast corner of Lake Ontario. But what Emma will tell us about today is the Robbins agri-tourism activities, Old McDonald's Farm, which attracts some 50,000 people a year, a really active place. Lake Ontario is known for its summer tourists, and I'm sure that the farm attracts a lot of those folks as well. But in particular, Emma's going to talk about how she has created a virtual farm tour, kind of stimulated by the pandemic, but it's continuing on its own now, and it has really become quite a project. Emma, welcome to Dairy Business Update.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. And yeah, we have a wonderful program that we started last year. And what initially happened was we have a nonprofit that we began called the Sackett's Harbor Ag Education and Awareness Center. And education, farming education has always been a big priority for the Robbins family, and at Old McDonald's Farm and North Harbor Dairy and the Robbins Family Grain businesses that they have. And so they decided that they wanted to create this nonprofit so that we could reach even more people. And so they brought me on as the Ag Education Coordinator. And so I made a program where my initial thought was to go into classrooms and bring farm science into the classrooms with very hands-on presentations. And that all got sort of blown out of the water by COVID. So we had to quickly change gears. And what we came up with was, it's not as hands-on as I would like, but it is very interactive, and it is a virtual tour of our dairy. And this year we actually added a virtual tour of all the farm animals on Old McDonald's Farm as well. A lot of classes like to, especially a lot of the younger kids, they do a little agriculture unit, and they like to see all the different animals. But then next thing they know, they're coming on the dairy tour as well. So I have a lot of teachers who are taking both the dairy virtual dairy tour, we call that Zoom Dairy, and then also coming along for the Zoom Farm tour as well. So they get a double whammy. So that's what we had to do, was bring everything virtual. Tours are about 45 minutes, and the Zoom Dairy starts in the calf barns. And they see, especially in the wintertime, the calves are wearing their jackets, and the kids love that because you can keep, I like to make everything sort of come back to what the kids are aware of. So I say, just like you go outside and put on your jacket, our calves need to wear them as well. And so they see the calves, we teach them how we feed them, and they get used to a nipple, and then they can feed themselves. When they go into a group pen, they can do a mob feeding system, and then we quickly drive across the road. All of our bigger cows in the dairy operation is across the road, and so they they jump in the Zoom Dairy mobile. They like that. And then we go across the road and we see the maternity barn. We talk a lot about nutrition, all the different ages of cows and reproductive cycle. They need different nutrition. And then we go on in, we look above the parlor, and they get a bird's eye view of how it's all put together. And then we go down and in, and they see the operation. We have a double 24 parlor set up, and we direct load. They see the milk going right on into the truck, so they get the whole process, and I think it really does stick with them. A lot of them, they'll send me pictures and things like that. We can talk about that later, but they see the whole process, and they get it, and they do feel kind of a part of it. Along the way, of course, we get to adopt a newborn calf, and the class comes up with a name for it. They all do some voting, and it's kind of fun to see how each teacher deals with that and how they choose a name. And then the education continues, because throughout the year, I'll send them, if they email me and say, hey, how is Clarabelle doing? I'll take a picture of her. I'll find her in the barn and take a picture and send it on, and say that she's moved to another barn and her diet is changed. And so they get all the way throughout the whole school year, they get to see how their calf is growing. So it's been very rewarding. And I think that I get from the feedback from the teachers and students, everybody learns a little something. So.
Emma, a couple questions. One is, with the live tours, you obviously started closer to home with school districts around northern New York, I presume. But it'll be interesting to hear the kind of the geography that you're covering, that you're reaching now. But before we go there, just tell us a little bit about you. You obviously are comfortable talking about farming activities, and you certainly looks like you enjoy your interaction with the kids. What's your background?
So I'm from Maryland. Initially, we moved up to Sackett's Harbor in 2010. And my husband works on for Robbins Family Grain. He's that part. He does a lot of the spraying and works with a lot of the technology on the farm. And right now they're all harvesting away. We're working on harvesting our corn. Soybeans are done. And so we came here initially for his job. I'm was trained way back in the beginning. I got a master's, and I was a wheat breeder for the farmers in Maryland. And that was really my passion. I loved it. And then coming here, I needed to be able to adjust to something. And Nancy Robbins, who's the owner and operator of Old McDonald's Farm, she said, "Hey, we do want to do a lot of education." And she said, asked me if I could set up a small sort of education area on the farm. So, yep, about 11 years ago now, I set up Discover Farming. And it's a lot of hands-on fun exhibits, especially kind of more for sort of the younger children. And so that's been really fun. Every year I add a new sort of exhibit to Discover Farming, and it's been wonderful, especially because on a rainy day you'll see the little center is just packed with kids, because it's just they're here on a field trip, but it is raining, and so as much as we try to get them out and about, they really, a lot of them end up doing all the things that are in the Discover Farming Center. So Nancy sort of took me in there, and I've been in and out helping, but it's just been in the last couple of years that I've gone full time with them and been their education coordinator. So it's been really fun. I've been having a great time.
Well, it's obvious that you enjoy it. Tell us a little bit about the geography now of the tours. You're being virtual, of course. You're not limited by having bus rides close by. So tell us who you're reaching.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I am trying to get as far out as I can. I've actually given tours internationally, South Africa, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and anywhere they speak English really is good for me. And so I've been all over the US as well. So it's really a Zoom Dairy and now Zoom Farm. It's for not just for students, also it's for homeschoolers, families, 4-H clubs. I've had several older generation folks wanting to take the tour and compare the dairy industry from what they remember just 50 years ago to what we're doing today, and they've really enjoyed it. And so it is for, I say it's for everyone, anywhere. No matter what age you are. It does seem to be focusing a lot on, students in classrooms, but really it can go as far as I want. And all I have to do is just make sure to keep track of the time changing. And, and I could be since we milk 3 times a day, I could be there in the middle of the night doing a tour as well. So.
Well, that sounds really fun. Before we end this conversation, maybe we'll get your email address and put it here in the recording so that folks can reach out to you if they want to find out more about it, or particularly schedule a visit. Now, you've had some financial support for this effort. Obviously, the Robbins family have made the biggest commitment, but you've had support from various groups. Just tell a little bit about the support you've had, and also what you're kind of looking for.
Yes, I have this little thing here with all the different logos of everybody who's given us support. And initially it was Farm Credit, the Northeast Ag Enhancement, Pioneer Cortiva, and who else gave us initially? These right here, the American Farm Bureau. These folks initially were giving us funding to do the in the classroom hands-on presentations. And so they were very generous in letting us change gears and go virtual. So that was a big help, but also Great Lakes Cheese, and then just our businesses, of course, have chipped in a bit to help us out. And this year we've already gotten a little bit of help from NBT Bank. They're a local bank here that have helped out, and Lockwood Nutrition Service in Massachusetts has given us a little help. So we're always looking for more, because of course I have a lot of ideas. I want to already add for my younger kids, I would really like to, when they adopt their calf and name it, I have already decided I want to get a little stuffed animal and do a little crafting, put the ear tags in their ears with the number and the name and send it on to their school. So I have a whole little level that's going to add another, bunch of busy work that I need to do for each tour. But for the K through third graders, I think they would really enjoy that. And it continues to be sort of a keepsake and a reminder in their classroom of the tour that they took, and hopefully of the positive impact that they'll feel towards the dairy industry and what they learned. So.
And there's a great website for the farming operations and the McDonald's farm too, and we'll post that web address in our information about this episode. But just give us an idea already virtually how many folks you've reached.
Right. Well, we have been able to partner with Cornell's New York Ag in the Classroom. We did that last year. They had a whole series that they called From Cow to Cone. And so they came on 4 separate occasions, and twice a day we did a morning and afternoon tour. And so we started out the first one was in the calf barns, and then the next day we focused on nutrition. We went into the parlor, sort of the end part of it all, on the third part of the series. And last, we were over across the road in the old McDonald's Farm Cafe, where we make the ice cream. So we did all that and talked about our recipes. And so just with that partnership that we had with New York Ag in the Classroom, we reached 17,000 visitors. Were all connecting and tuning in for that. So that was really interesting. On my own, though, I've done about last year, I did about 220 tours or so, and of all classrooms and homeschool families, and a lot of groups, a lot of different sort of ag groups, 4-H clubs, and so on my own, I was able to reach about 2,500 students. But also BOCES, they just this week actually, we've been partnering with them, and they're doing they did the farm tour yesterday. And tomorrow they'll be joining me on the dairy tour. So we'll have several, their Connected Classrooms program joins me on that. So that gave me a really big boost, especially the Cornell Ag in the Classroom. That got us more visitors than I ever thought we would get. So it was the success of the program has really surprised, I think, all of us. So.
Well, we would invite anybody who's watching this video from around the country to consider reaching out to you and either taking part in a tour or giving you a little help, or both. The point that I noticed on the website was that you've got a fairly large scale operation, certainly by Northeast standards. And we all know that sometimes that image among civilians, our local neighbors, is not always great. But I think the website documents that folks leave your tours and leave your activities really feeling good about animal care, the way that modern dairy farming ensures cow comfort and people comfort. Just give us a little impression of how the feedback that you've gotten.
Right. Yes. See, when Old McDonald's Farm is open, I run all the dairy tours. We do those on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I really miss that now that we're closed. We closed on Halloween. And but yes, every time I took visitors around and I showed them we have, rubber in all the alleyways and deep sand beds, and they have the water misters over the feed troughs. And so they really get to see, I say it over and over again, that a comfortable cow is a productive cow, and it's in our best interest to be sure to keep them comfortable, because it's it's good for everybody. And so they do leave with a positive attitude, and they also like to know that it is a family owned business. All the separate LLCs that we have, they're all it's family members all sitting around the table and coming up with the business ideas and ways to improve. And they certainly make all of us employees. They take good care of us as well, and we feel appreciated. And so all around, it's a really well-run operation from just the old McDonald's visitors. We want to make sure they're all they just feel a part of the farm when they come on, that they just they get to get their hands in everything and pet all the animals and then learn a little something along the way.
Well, it's a great story, and you folks are doing a great job. Emma, just on this video, just give us your email address so that people can reach you directly.
Yes, and I do have a flyer. I'll send that on to you as well, that I send out to folks if they want to either do a Zoom dairy or a Zoom farm tour, or even help out. They can donate through our nonprofit, a tax-deductible donation to help me out. And of course, all the ideas, I have bigger ideas of a education center and greenhouse and an attached lab and classroom, and of course the sky's the limit as far as my imagination goes. But yes, they all scheduling is done through me, and my email is my name, Emma Shirley 522@gmail.com, and all together. And they can just email me anytime. And I think I mentioned to you before that we talked about how far and wide the program has gone. And one of the things I really am trying hard to do, and I haven't been able to make these contacts yet, is I'd like to reach out to military families that are overseas, that the kids are going to schools in the different countries. And I'd love to be able to do a Zoom dairy tour for them. They can adopt a calf and have a connection back home. And as well, I think it would be really interesting. They can compare what they're seeing in the countries where they're stationed versus the farm tour that they're taking here in the United States. So I would really love to be able to somehow find contacts to make that happen, because I think that would be enjoyable for me as well, to see where all these people are, and students, families, homeschoolers, anybody in the military overseas. I'd love to reach out to them.
Well, Emma, we really appreciate you telling the story. You folks are doing a great job. It's a very exciting activity. We are all told to tell our farming story, and you guys are doing it in spades. And I hope we can get a little bit of support for you, as well as create more interest from folks who might want to take the tour. And I think you made the point too, beyond agricultural groups, civic groups, Rotary clubs, civilians, if you will.
Exactly. Yes.
Would enjoy the tour.
And the tours are all there, no cost. It doesn't, you just sign up through me. And that's why we need the support so much, because we have to clean the barns, get presentable for people to come and see. And then of course, all the scheduling takes forever sometimes to make everybody's schedule work. And there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into, and then every time I do a tour, that means I have to be able to make updates throughout the year, find those cows in the heifer barn, and all that kind of stuff. So it does kind of add up. And so any kind of support is of course always very appreciated.
Well, and we're going to be put a little plug in here for our podcast series. We are going to be talking with Brian Robbins, son of Ron and Nancy, who is the herd manager. And I've heard him make the point that for him and for the employees, knowing that they're in effect open to the public a lot, it just gives a little added incentive to make sure that everything is nicely done, well taken care of.
Yep, we got to make sure. Yes, we need to watch our P's and Q's on the farm and be visitor ready at all times. So that's been great for us as well as for our herd. So yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, Emma, thanks for taking time to tell us about your activities. It sounds fun, and you obviously are having fun, which is great to see. We're speaking with Emma Shirley at North Harbor Dairy and Old McDonald's Farm in Sockets Harbor, New York. Thank you, Emma.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.